Hey everyone, so yesterday Johnny from Brotherwise Games was interviewed by the Cosmere Con 2024. I haven't heard of Cosmere Con before, but I went in and I watched the interview and he revealed some really cool stuff that's coming down the pipeline for Stormlight miniatures, specifically about the Stormlight RPG. So I listened to the recording, I took some notes, and I am going to give you a quick synopsis here of stuff that's coming down the pipe. There are 3 Cosmere games coming from Brotherwise in the near term. And so the first one is the tabletop role-playing game. This is abbreviated to be the TTRPG. And then we have the Mistborn deck building game. And then we have the Shards of Creation card game. And Johnny mentioned a 4th secret game that I'll be touching on near the end of this episode here. So the tabletop role-playing game, I'm going to just shorten that to RPG like everyone else does. This is a game that will be considered Stormlight Archive canon. This is really exciting because the content that you will receive in this game will be part of the lore of Stormlight and be kind of like an appendage to the books, which is really cool. There's going to be 3 books inside of this RPG, the initial thing. First, we're going to have a handbook. There's going to also be a world guide, and there's going to be an adventure book. And we'll go into details about what those include. There'll also be a few more minis that are coming down the pipeline. And as the Cosmere and miniature person, I love minis. And so I'm very excited about those. And this is a quote directly from Johnny that this is the biggest concentration of Cosmere illustrations ever done. This is really exciting because the world guide book, the handbook, the adventure book, these will be just chock full of great illustrations about the Cosmere. And especially about Roshar, which is an awesome place, as we all know. So going into detail about the handbook of the RPG, this is geared towards players and game masters, otherwise known as GMs. And it is a D20 system. And basically all that means, from what I understand, is you're using a 20-sided dice to create some different decisions along your path. Here's a screenshot that was shared. You can see that this is a prototype, but we have different attributes of this person, and then you have descriptions and different notes going on here. And there's other pages that you can go. I'll link in the description how to get to this page so you can see more details there. But I myself am a RPG novice. I've only played Dungeons and Dragons once with some friends, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see what this does and how it operates, because I really have no preconceived notions of what a good RPG game should look like. So next up is the Stormlight World Guide and Art Book. Okay, so this is going to be filled with art and lore. Very exciting stuff. And Sanderson fans will have wanted this for a long time. And this is from Sanderson, Brandon Sanderson. He said that people have wanted this thing for a while, and he wants this to be included in the RPG through Brotherwise to get this out to his fans. The adventure book, this is an original Brandon story, meaning that this is part of canon. It's part of the Rosharan system and what goes on the planet. And it's within the time frame of the Words of Radiance. And it includes levels 1 through 6. Now, those of you who are RPG masters, can you explain what that means? I'm assuming that this adventure book, you have a campaign of sorts to go through, a linked adventure, and you're kind of working up your levels through your characters. But please explain in the comments what this actually means. And then, so those are the 3 books. And the miniatures that are included, there will be mostly non-iconic characters. So Johnny said we're not going to get any characters like Sadias or anything like that, although that would be awesome. I hope they do that in the future. These will be more generic characters that you can customize and create your own type of character, which is really cool. And he did say that there will most likely be 1 new Herald mini. We already got Nail and was it Naln in the Kickstarter, the previous Kickstarter, but we'll get 1 more. And he said it was a she. So for those of you who are Cosmere knots or whatever, which Herald is this going to be? Which Herald is the most important that would be part of this? It's linked to the adventure book. So any details there? This screenshot, I believe these were painted by Ellie from Ellie Firespray. If you haven't followed her on LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, if you haven't followed her on Instagram yet, go and do it. She's posting great content as she paints through different Stormlight miniatures. Really good stuff. Really excited to see some of these more generic characters. So you got like Knight's Radiance. You also have some Parshendi. But you do have these three were from the original Kickstarter. The others are new. So will it be worth the price? First of all, I don't know what the price is right now, but we do know Johnny said that this is the best product I've ever worked on. Now, Johnny he mentioned that he had 17 years of experience in the toy making industry. And from what I've seen coming out of Brotherwise, they have some really good content. And I'm really excited to hear him say that this is a really, genuinely, really good product. They did talk about the stacked team of writers and illustrators, people who worked on D&D, who worked on Warhammer, stuff like that. These folks are helping develop this great product. There's been thousands of playtesters. I haven't been one. I really haven't had time to do it, even if I was selected. Hopefully I'll get time to play it soon. But thousands of playtesters, that is really good when you're developing a game, so that you don't put a product out there that falls flat on its face. These playtesters find the nooks and crannies where a product could falter. Johnny mentioned a lot of industry experts that are supporting Brotherwise Games as they're developing this. And I'm sure there's he went through a list of a few of the people helping out. But industry experts as consultants on this is a good thing, because it makes sure that they don't fall into any common potholes. So the timeline for the RPG is the Kickstarter will be in August 2024. They pushed this past the Words of Radiance. They were going to do it sooner in the year, but they delayed it so that the Words of Radiance Leatherbound by Dragonsteel could push through without conflict. Johnny mentioned that they already almost have a finished product, and it's not even August yet. I mean, we're coming into summertime. They have a few more months to really polish up this RPG, so that when the Kickstarter finishes, they'll be able to ship out products really fast. He did say that expansions will be coming later. Stretch goals will be limited on this Kickstarter. I'm not sure what that would mean, but he did mention that they wanted the bulk of the product to be right there at the beginning, and so that if there are stretch goals, they'll be more like online support system or something like that, of how you can get together with your friends and play the game. Potentially some other illustrations anyway, stretch goals are up to their imagination of what they could do. So the RPG, one of the biggest concerns that I've seen from folks on Discord and on social media is that will they be able to fulfill on this Kickstarter? The last Kickstarter they did with the Stormlight miniatures, it was delayed a lot, and this was one of the topics that Johnny first addressed with the interviewer yesterday, is that there are concerns over fulfillment just based on recency of the latest Kickstarter. And so Johnny addressed it. He said they have had huge lessons learned from miniatures Kickstarter. Like, they went through this process. This was the first time they had built miniatures and packaged them up and sent them out like this. Like, there was so much unknowns going into their previous Kickstarter. And they learned so much. Both Dragonsteel and Brotherwise Games were stretched, is what he said. And now with RPG and the other games that we're talking about, these products are in their wheelhouse. They actually know how to build this stuff. They've shipped this kind of stuff previously. Brotherwise knows how to make games, and Dragonsteel knows how to make books. Obviously, we love Brandon's books, and he's involved with the process of making these RPG books. So we can expect them to be really good, top-notch quality. So the Mistborn deck building game, I won't spend too much time here, but Johnny said in terms of board games and card games, this is the best one we have made as a company. And Brotherwise is a gaming company. They've made several games, and they've had some really good successes out there. This is a really encouraging statement for those of you who are really interested in Mistborn and deck building games. The intent of this game is to feel like a Mistborn. So you're going to be flaring metals. You're going to be spending allomancy, spending metals to use your allomancy is what he said. And there's images out there of what the cards would look like. They're looking really cool. And I'm a fan of deck building games. I've really enjoyed the games I've played previously. And so this one should be pretty exciting. He did mention the potential for a standard and a deluxe edition of this game. Personally, I think since I like Stormlight, or since I like the Cosmere so much and I like deck building games, I would probably go for the deluxe edition. Again, I have no idea what the price will be. We'll see what that is. But he did say there will be no Kickstarter for this one. It'll just go straight to retail and straight to the shelves. Shards of Creation is the third game that Brotherwise is working on. This is a small card game, and there's no Kickstarter for it as well. It will just hit the shelves when they're ready with it. They really didn't spend a lot of time on Shards of Creation, and so we'll just move on. And now for the big reveal that I was very excited about was that there's a new secret board game. And I mean, how many times can Brandon Sanderson talk about secret projects? Like, everything's a secret project these days. So this was the first time that it has been discussed publicly, is what Johnny said. So this is a new product. This is in the ideation phase, the brainstorming phase. He said it will be similar to War of the Ring and Star Wars Rebellion, if you've played those games. I personally haven't played them, but I've seen them. And that's where you kind of take up a whole board, a whole table with all the content for the board game. And it takes a whole afternoon to run through. These are the kind of games that I grew up playing as a kid with my brothers and stuff. And I love that format where just like you invest so much time into a game, and there's so much mechanics to go through. So very exciting on that front. He did mention there will be some minis. I would assume they'd be smaller minis than what we got here with the 28-32 millimeter scale that we have. But very excited to hear about this because that means it is a stepping stone to creating a Warhammer-like Stormlight Archives tabletop war game, which is the ultimate goal. As we all know, we want to see Alethi armies and we want to see Parshendi armies facing it off on the tabletop, rolling dice, measuring things. It'll be great. So my question for you all, which game are you most excited about? The Stormlight RPG, Mistborn Deck Builder, Shards of Creation, or Stormlight board game? Personally for me, I think the RPG I'm most excited about because it's going to be, we know when it's coming, but then I'm very curious to see how Stormlight board game pans out. I'm going to be watching that very closely. I hope you all enjoyed this synopsis. I'll see you on the next video.